time I ever played with clay, if you will, was in middle school. I got really lucky that my middle school had a pottery wheel. Most don't because it's expensive and hard to deal with. My mom was a fine arts major when she was in college, and my dad is an engineering major, so he understands exactly nothing to do with art, but my mom has the art brain of the family that I got from her, so family-wise, my mom was all for it. But school-wise, my high school was had a really large arts program, so it wasn't abnormal that people from my high school went into art as a major in college. That also wasn't weird. But now, I work for the adventure program at WU, and all of my friends are math majors or chemistry majors, and so they'll all sit and talk about their fancy labs and stuff, and I'll be like, yeah guys, I gotta go make 4 teapots, and people laugh at me a lot, but all in a lighthearted way, never in a I don't know, never in a mean way. But yeah, it's a very abnormal major, so there's always a few eyebrows that raise when I'm like, hi, my name is Kate, and I am a ceramics major. So you get all your dry materials, or all your materials, you're all made, you've got your clay made, you've got your glaze made for later, and you're going to wedge your clay, which like I said is kind of like kneading bread, and all that does is it gets all the air bubbles out and kind of just makes the clay stick to itself a little better. And I predominantly wheel throw. As I start my pieces, I hand build off of them later, but I start on the wheel. So you go through the whole wheel throwing process of centering, you pull the sides up, and you make this beautiful elaborate form or a really simple form. So when you're first working with it on the wheel, it's super, super wet and malleable, so you can move it around and make whatever shape you want. So you're on the wheel, you've made your form, you take it off the wheel, and you put it on your shelf or somewhere of the sort so that it can dry, usually about overnight. You have to cover it with plastic. And then once it's dried enough, you can turn it over and trim the bottom, which these are the satisfying videos you see on Instagram of people using tools and shavings are coming everywhere, and everyone really likes watching them. And it's really fun. It's also very difficult because you have to recenter the clay, and if it's a little bit too wet or a little bit too dry, it simply will not work the way it's supposed to. And there's a billion different things to think about when it comes to the foot of a pot, the rim of a pot. Throughout the whole process, you have to make sure you're not making too many dents or scratches on it. But after you've trimmed it, then you can decide, okay, I want this is all I want, this is good, or I like to add slips to my pieces, which are these decorations here, which I would then add after I trim the bottom. But this is where all the decision making happens. It's where you as an artist get to make the piece your own. Successful art is so fulfilling because, especially with ceramics, I just described a million different factors that come into play when you're making anything to do with ceramics or clay. So there's a million different things that can go wrong. So when you open up a glaze fired kiln and you see a piece that you really love and are happy with, that feeling is just so incredible. And it's different from if you're painting or drawing because there's no hidden part there. If I'm making a painting, I am working, and then I look at it at some point and I say, okay, I'm done. And there's no surprise. Whereas when you're using ceramics, when you put something into the kiln, it looks completely different most times than what you get when you open it back up again in 24 hours, 48 hours, however long your firing is. So there's always just a little bit of anticipation, excitement, nervousness right before you open that door when it says it's cool enough to do so. And you look in, you're like, everything's crap or everything's great or a little bit of both, but it is really fulfilling to get something that you're happy with and would sell to someone, would give to someone and be proud to say okay, yeah, I made that.